Welcome, beautiful Paris Saint-Germain family. I've been away for a couple of days, and reading the reports, I don't know. I don't feel good. I don't feel good. You know, after our greatest season ever, including that deep Club World Cup run into the final, the decisions in the transfer market continue to bamboozle me. I do not understand what the club is doing, the direction we're heading into, the small mistakes we're making, potentially major mistakes. So these are all the reports. Galatasaray have made an offer for Donnarumma because the Italian on his part reaffirmed his desire to stay and extend. Donnarumma's entourage are actively exploring the market for potential destinations this summer since negotiations with PSG are not progressing. Breaking, PSG has reached an agreement in principle over broad terms with Luca Chevalier. Again, this was not that hard to make. One phone call is enough. Paris are open to paying Lille's demands of 40 million euro. The club wants to sell Chevalier before selling Donnarumma. City United interested in Donna. So we want to sign Chevalier before we sell Donna. PSG and Donnarumma have not yet reached an agreement regarding a renewal. Club lays offers worth 7 million plus 3 million in add-ons. PSG hopeful negotiation for Luca Chevalier arrival at the club conclude before training resumes on 6th of August. I mentioned this before because we will play the UEFA Super Cup final versus Spurs on the 13th. So 1 week of training before that. The Frenchman has agreed to sign a 5-year contract with the club and has already spoken with Luis Enrique, who would like to recruit him. Luca Chevalier is the anonymous choice of the PSG management to be the #1 goalkeeper next season, as the club have been working on the deal for several months. He's the unanimous choice at the PSG management. Just a negotiation between PSG and Lille for Luca Chevalier are underway, with Nasser Khalifi leading the talks. So we're already in agreement with Chevalier, and now we're working with Lille. PSG have agreed personal terms with Luca Chevalier. Deal is done on player side. Talks are going between clubs now, with Lille request starting from 40 million. Donnarumma situation is still on standby as of now. Club can't agree on a new deal. Fabrizio obviously just being late. You know, this is why we should just stop using Fabrizio as a source, because I mean he tweeted this 7 hours ago, basically just copying this report right here from Tanzi, which came out 20 hours, like 13-hour gap. Like, is Fabrizio even a serious journalist in 2025? But let's break this down. And the first thing I obviously want to talk about is Gianluigi Donnarumma. This is who I want to talk about. I've supported Paris Saint-Germain for a very long time, but Donnarumma is definitely the goalkeeper that's come closest to my heart. Alongside Keylor Navas. Both here, not, for the longest time. We had Sirigu before, Trapp. I don't know. Donnarumma, he was a generational player. Starting for AC Milan at 16 years of age. Playing there, winning that Euro, player of the tournament with Italy. Huge penalty shootout. Comes to Paris Saint-Germain. And he struggles. He struggles when he comes to the big moments. Because at AC Milan, he never played Champions League. His first game in the Champions League was for Paris Saint-Germain. He couldn't deal with the pressure. We all remember that Madrid mistake. His Madrid versus Bayern, mistake here, mistake there. Even in this Champions League group stage, that goal versus Arsenal we conceded in the group stage. But what Donnarumma did in the knockouts was one of the best goalkeeping knockouts I've seen in the UCL in recent years. We stayed faithful to Donnarumma. He stayed faithful for us. Donna has always been loyal. He's always wanted to succeed at Paris Saint-Germain. We kept giving him chances, and this season was seen for me as a now or never. If you can't do it now, you can't be mad that we move on. And we were looking at Luca Chevalier. Paris Saint-Germain have been interested in Luca Chevalier for a very long time. But we were like, this is going to be Donna's season. And it was Donna's season. We all remember that Liverpool away leg. We all remember that Aston Villa away leg. We all remember Arsenal at the back. Champions League final, only had to make one save. But he had a huge Champions League campaign for Paris Saint-Germain. The only thing that was missing, he's always been good in the league and the domestic cups. But it was in the Champions League, mostly the knockout stages, where Donnarumma had to prove his worth and his value if he wants to be the #1 for Paris Saint-Germain. And that's exactly what he proved this year. Obviously, the question mark at the moment we're seeing from the reports is ongoing about the contract extension at Paris Saint-Germain. And Donnarumma's situation is very simple. Donnarumma came to Paris Saint-Germain as a free agent. When you arrive as a free agent, you usually get higher wage because the club doesn't have to pay a transfer fee. Take, for example, David Alaba. He's the second highest earner at Real Madrid, not because of performances or ability, but because he came as a free agent, just like Rudiger and some other players. So what that means is Paris Saint-Germain feel Donnarumma has a little bit of a too high of a wage, or a good amount of wage that, despite his performance in this season, they don't want to give him more money. What they want to do, though, is a new thing they've added into the contracts. We've already done that with Vitinha, Nuno Mendes, and Achraf Hakimi, which is, instead of getting 100% of your wage, you get 70% of your wage, and then 30% is based upon how you perform, what you do in games, and so on, and that you play games, most notably. Because we obviously had Neymar Jr. and Verratti before, injured for lots of periods of time and having a high wage, and we felt we were wasting a lot of money. And I like this new structure. The only issue with this new structure, a lot of the players have question marks accepting it. We saw Nuno Mendes back in January, December with Manchester United flirting around. That was obviously never going to happen. And Nuno Mendes at the end extended. But this Donnarumma thing, we've known about it for at least a couple of months, and it's still dragging on. And Paris Saint-Germain, well, instead of waiting, they're going to go for Luca Chevalier. And look, at the end of the day, it's business between Donnarumma and Paris Saint-Germain. But I feel like the season that Donnarumma has had, I mean, a 1 mil, you can give him a 1 mil. But the thing for me is when I read that report, the entire management won Luca Chevalier. And for me, it's like they're forgetting what Donnarumma did for us this season. Like, take Donnarumma out of the team. We're not winning the UCL last season. We're not winning the UCL last season. I feel like the club and the management is disrespecting Donnarumma. You know, it took time for Donnarumma for him to be able to step up in big games like this for him. What do you think is going to happen with Luca Chevalier? Do you think he should just step in? It's probably going to make him miss. And just so you know, every single time, if this deal happens, every single time Chevalier makes a mistake, especially in the UCL, we'll just look at him and say, we had Gianluigi Donnarumma. You know, Donnarumma has been competing in football for close to 10 years now. Close to 10 years. And he has a future 10 to 15 years left. And instead of keeping this generational keeper in his absolute prime, and just so you know, if he goes to United or City, wherever he's going to go, he's going to be absolutely insane for them. And we're going to look from here, be like, yeah, our management wanted Luca Chevalier. And I rate Luca Chevalier. I think he's one of the best goalkeepers on the market currently. I was talking with City fans, you know, they got to move on from Ederson. Who should they get? Chevalier. Barca fans were discussing before. Obviously, they got now Juan Garcia. But before, I always give Chevalier as a great example. And Chevalier was the number one I would take if Donna didn't work out last season. But Donna did work out. Donna was absolutely huge for us. He was immense for us. And this is how we're repaying him. And Donna, for his part, he can also extend. Yes, it's a little bit less of money, but you're still going to be a Paris Saint-Germain competing for the best trophies. I mean, he's earning 10 million a year, and PSG wants to offer 7 million plus 3 million in like add-on wages based upon playing time and everything. But Donna doesn't want to do it. I feel like from somewhere from Donna, he feels the PSG management is ungrateful. And I agree with Donnarumma. I think when it comes to Donnarumma, the management is not doing the right thing. You know, we've seen before PSG letting go of topper players like Neymar, Verratti, but at least there you saw the valuable excuses. These players have injury prone. They have way too high of a wage. Fitness-wise, not exactly what Lucha wanted. They drink, they party, not exactly what... At least there you understood PSG sacrificing these talented football players for other players. But in the Donnarumma case, I don't understand it. Maybe people want to talk about the profile. He's not the best on the ball and all of that, but... Who cares when he's saving all of those saves? But I mean, ever since Luis Enrique came into this club and we had Donnarumma, we knew that like eventually when Lucha, you know, has his full squad and everything, Donna is not going to be the keeper, just profilistically. He wants more of a sweeper keeper and so on. We saw Robert Sanchez, the performance he had versus us in the Club World Cup final. But for me, all of that don't matter when you have a goalkeeper that can save your ass, like Gianluigi Donnarumma has done this season. Like, there's some of the saves, like the top left corner he made on Saka. How many keepers can make that save? I'm just scared we're making a huge mistake here. I mean, I believe it's a mistake. Like, no matter how good Luca Chevalier, you do not do this. You do not destabilize the squad. Like, I read some reports that PSG don't want to sign or sell too many players so they keep the squad intact. Well, Donnarumma is one of the most vocal players. He's like third in the captaincy role. Has been here for one of the longest time alongside Achraf Hakimi, Nuno Mendes, and obviously Marquinhos. From every logical... and it's not like Donna is asking for some crazy money. But from every single standpoint, for me, this looks like an L for Paris Saint-Germain. You know, you wait for Donna to have this kind of a season, and then you're like, yeah, let's take Luca Chevalier. Because I see this as already over. Like, what's the point in talking with Luca Chevalier if we still have Donna? It means we gave Donna a time to extend at the club. He hasn't wanted to extend. Maybe he's asking for a bit more or different negotiations or something. And PSG like, all right, we're going to move on. And as that report said, we're not going to sell Donna until we get Chevalier. And then you get Chevalier. And then you sell Donna. And Donna only has, I think, 1 year left in his contract. So we won't even get that much money for him. And I like Chevalier. I like Chevalier. He's, even when I'm completely bald, a bit of a lookalike to me. And, you know, he's French, young, upcoming, better with the ball at his feet, and great at shot stopping. We saw him with Lille in the UCL this season, especially his performance versus Atletico Madrid away when they won. It was a huge performance from Chevalier. So the gap between Donna and Chevalier is not as big. I think when it comes to Donna, it's more the emotional attachment. Like, this is a player that has been here. When you look at all the players we have, Donna is one of the ones that has been here for the longest time. He's always showed great loyalty. I remember after we got knocked out versus Bayern, he was there with the Ultras. Mbappe was there, obviously parading, you know, Hollywood Zionist stuff. Donna was there for the actual love and affection for this club, man, and showing that he cares more than an average PSG player. But, you know, it is what it is. Looking at the positives, this thing, it's not like a crazy age experience or something. Chevalier will come in, grow the ball at his feet. Yeah, great shot stopper as well, but the end of Donna, I don't know, man. I don't know. It hurts. It hurts. And these are one of the easiest stuff we can look back in the future and say, oh, we messed up there. And as I've said, I've had some large question marks over this entire transfer window. We still haven't finished off the Zabarny fight. I'll make a video discussing the Zabarny stuff. Next video will be about Zabarny, but yeah, hopefully all improves. That's been it from boy PSG, and hopefully you guys have enjoyed this video. And as usual, allez, Paris.